Hey. This is Shit Show. Awful stories told by not awful musicians and music industry professionals about the shitty situations they get into.
What is up, everyone? Thank you again for listening to our podcast, Shit Show. I want to thank everybody that has been sending in messages about bands we should interview. That's really cool. So, little update. I just landed. I was in Orlando, and now I'm in LA, and I'm in a hotel room trying to get this all edited up before the week is out. So, sadly, Eric won't be here right now, but believe me, he's around. He'll be on future episodes, but for right now, you still get me. This episode in particular is really kind of weird and special. So I had recorded 3 separate interviews, all really super short, and they were with Chirs Ballew from the President of the United States of America, Eddie Spaghetti from the Supersuckers, and we also had Scott from the band Reverend Horton Heat. So it's kind of like a bunch of different little clips of interviews all put together. So this is the only time that I actually did it this way. And it was just out of necessity because there wasn't very much audio or very many, the stories weren't very long. But anyway, thanks again, everybody. Check out previous episodes, tell your friends, and all right, let's do it. Hit the music! I'm here with Chris from the President of the United States of America! Woo! All right, what is the worst show you've ever done?
Ooh, none. Get that out of there! God, you know, I can't. Oh, worst show. I don't carry around bad stuff. I shed the bad. I only remember the good. So the bad is all just one big blur of hazy blur. I got no bad.
No bad?
I got no bad. I got no memory of the worst show because I black out all bad memories.
Oh.
I got none.
None. What was a show that maybe roughest crowd? Maybe.
Wow, you're digging for the dark dirt.
I'm digging deep.
Digging in the dark dirt.
Like this band or
Digging
this city
in the dark dirt.
was hard.
Oh, I remember an Italian festival that was all bands like Sepultura and Danzig and all pasty white, long black-haired heavy metal bands and us. And they did not understand us at all.
Okay.
But they weren't mad or anything. They were just patiently waiting for the next...
Was it a lot of like crossed-armed and like...
Crossed-armed stillness. And so it was more of a mental game for us, like, well, let's just play our songs and get our check and get back on the airplane.
So, but that was in Italy?
I was in Italy, middle of nowhere in Italy. I don't know why we got booked on that thing, man.
Was it a one-off?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
It wasn't a tour?
No, it wasn't a one-off. It was a tour.
It was a tour,
Yeah,
and then
tour.
that was like a date on
It's
it.
just on the tour, yeah. All right, so do you always ask people what the worst situation was?
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
You know, I guess it's funny because I came up playing in the subway and on the street. And
busking.
Yeah. So there's no such thing as a worst show for me because nothing is as challenging as trying to get a busy person who's on their way to catch a train
Right.
to stop and listen to your song. So the songs that work and make people stop are good enough that they sort of transcend whether the crowd is good or bad. Like,
Right.
I feel like the idea is to write songs that are so strong that it doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. So let me give you a little background what just happened. So somebody just walked up and said, LP sign, like come and sign all my stuff. But here's the thing that's really interesting is Chirs Ballew and I are literally in our black van with tinted windows. You can't see anything. We're in there interviewing. I'm not exactly sure how they knew that Chris and I were in there doing an interview. And also, mad respect for the person for just like walking up to a random van and opening the door. And luckily, it was just Chris and I doing an interview. Who knows what else it could have been? But anyway, we had to stop the interview at this point. Chris is such a nice guy and so like accommodating to his fan base that he went and signed everything. Super cool. Anyway, let's get back in it.
The best interview ever.
So the idea is basically to write songs that are so strong and so happy and right that it doesn't really matter. Our philosophy has always been play for who's there, not for who isn't there. We have played shows. Oh my God, I'm remembering now. Atlanta, Georgia, a radio station. We had to cancel because we were sick, and then they decided they hated us, and they screwed with our show when we came back to make up the show we had to cancel, and told people that it was somewhere else. It was a different night or something. And so that was like 100 people in like a 1,200 person venue. You think maybe worst show ever, best show ever.
Really?
Because we play for who's there, not for who isn't there.
Perfect.
So you really can't, there's no messing with us, man. You can't put us off our game. Our game is so strong that it just happens no matter what. So, speaking of game, I'm going to a hotel and go to sleep.
Hey, thank
All
you
right.
so much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Pleasure to know you. In the whale, people. Don't mess with them. Okay. Bye.
Bye, Chris.
There you go. You have Chirs Ballew. I love that guy. He's such a sweet person. Up next, we have Eddie Spaghetti from the Supersuckers, and this interview is really, really short. I believe they had to drive through the night. We played with them in Colorado Springs at the Black Sheep, and Eddie was so gracious enough to give me a little bit of his time to pick his brain about a show story. And it was really cool and fast, and here you go.
Thank you so much for coming out and being in our van with us today.
Sure, man.
I wanted to ask you, what's the worst show you've ever done? It could be like the worst promoter, the worst fucking turnout. It could be some dude was a dick to you before the van broke down that day. What was the worst show ever?
The worst show I've ever played personally was I did a solo show in Seattle at this place called the High Dive.
The High Dive up in Seattle.
It's a fine venue, but I did like a door deal, and it wasn't that well attended, but it looked like I'd make a couple $100 or whatever. So I went to go get paid, and the guy, the bartender who paid me, slid like $1 across the bar at me. I was like, "Are you kidding me? $1?" He's like, "Yeah, it's all that's left after expenses. I feel really stupid having to give you $1, but that was all that was left after expenses." And it opened my eyes to make sure that all the expenses going in to a show before you agree to a door deal. And I actually wrote a really great song afterwards as well. So
what was the name of that song?
Pushing Through.
Push It Through?
Yeah.
What was the overhead for a show on an acoustic show that he was
like
taking?
Like a door guy and a sound guy, and each of them made $50 or whatever. And
Oh, fuck.
so
Well, there you have it.
it was a lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Right on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks.
That was quick and dirty. Good lesson to be had. And for those that don't know, it's like always look ahead, make sure you know what's going on, and make sure you know what all of the expenses are going to be beforehand, just to make sure that it works out in your favor, especially, when you're doing it just solo. Up next, we have Scott Churilla, who used to be in the band Reverend Horton Heat. This was recorded once again in our black van outside of the Moxie Theater in Greeley, Colorado. We had just got done playing with the Reverend Horton Heat, and Scott was like, "I've got a story for you." And I was like, "Awesome, let's do this." So anyway, here it is, Scott from the Reverend Horton Heat.
What is the worst show you've ever done?
My worst show ever would be New Year's Eve in Houston, I think in 1997.
What band were we?
Well, no, I'll tell you two. There's two worst shows. The first, 97, we played New Year's Eve in Houston with Chuck Berry, I think it was.
With the Reverend?
Yeah.
Chuck Berry.
And I had walking pneumonia, and I didn't realize it. And so I was playing, and everyone else is, it's New Year's Eve, so everyone else is drinking and partying and all that stuff. And I'm playing, and I'm going,
You can't even breathe, yeah.
No, and then you cough stuff up, and then as soon as you cough, your lungs fill up again, and my face is purple. But I made it through the show, and everyone didn't believe me that I was sick. Everyone's like, "Oh, you ain't sick. You're just, there's no way you'd be that sick." Well, I went to bed right after that show, and I thought I had flu or something. No, I went to the doctor and I had walking pneumonia, and he said I could have died. So, and then I went to the doctor, and it was pretty bad. It's the sickest I've ever been in my life. The other worst show was we played a place called the Blue Note in Columbia, Missouri. It's a great old theater. It's still there. You'll probably play there sometime if you haven't already.
Right.
And we had some issues. I won't get into the specifics of it, but we...
internal? Like band?
No, not the band. We owed somebody... We didn't owe somebody money, but let's say someone that's affiliated with us owed somebody money, and they pursued us to get the money. We had no connection.
Oh, okay.
Let me just say this. It was a management thing.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And someone went through us to try and get their money that was owed
to them.
Yes,
right.
From another band that was managed by the same manager.
So this management.
Here's what happened. I'll restate it so it's easier to understand.
Okay.
Our manager managed let's say he managed two bands, this band and us. Well, this band got overpaid by someone, and the promoter wanted his money back.
Okay.
So, and that band left the management that we're with, and so the promoter waited and kept trying to get his money back. So he said, "I'll just get it through this other band."
Through you guys.
So we played at the Blue Note in Columbia, Missouri. Played our last song. I remember there's a song we do called, I don't remember what song it was. I went like this. I went, hit the last note, and I looked behind me, and there was at least 20 cops. Yep, they said, "Step away from your instruments. Don't touch them." They were going to throw them in a paddy wagon. They were just going to throw them in there, but they were nice enough, if you can say such a thing, to let us put it back in the road cases, and they confiscated our gear. And they took it to a pawn shop that night. But we got it back the following day because we coughed up the money. It was more than any time when you have to pay for something that's not something you didn't do is a lot. But
my God.
it was a lot of money. But that was not a good show at all. To see my drums being taken away from me.
Oh my God! Do you still play that drum set?
Oh no, those drums are long gone. But
wow.
Yeah, that was around the same time. There's been so many shows that it could be from you just don't feel like playing because you feel sick or something like I said.
Right.
I like playing. I always play, but those are the two ones that stick out.
I hope
here's
never be a part of that.
This is the worst scenario that happens ever. Is when you're playing a show and it turns into I don't want to say a disco because disco would be cool because that would mean they're actually playing music. But it turns into a DJ. Which has not. You got to be done so the DJ can. And to me, DJs are just. When I think of a DJ, I think of Alan Freed, who coined the term rock and roll.
Right.
A disc jockey. Coming up next, we're gonna play rock and roll. That's a DJ, not some guy with headphones on going.
Yeah.
So you
playing
have
a MacBook or something and just
not even playing records. And then so you have to be done because
the DJ is going to come on after you guys.
Yeah, so they make you take your gear. Like they don't throw it off the stage, but they're like, get it out of here, and they put it in the alley so the DJ can start.
In Boise, they do that because of sound ordinance shit.
They do it everywhere. They're like, well, we'll have the band play first, and then the DJ will play afterwards. And then that's when the real crowd.
Do they still push you guys as big as you are?
Oh, sometimes they do that. That happens a lot in Florida. It seems like.
Really?
Yeah, Florida's a big. A lot of the venues you play there, the bigger ones, are like, well, we got the DJ guy after this, And,
really?
And then as soon as you get done playing, you hear, and you're like, oh, good, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Pack up our stuff, get our money, and get the hell out.
Yeah, so that's always a bad show when that happens. So, but that's it, man.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for being in this creepy, dirty band van.
I've been in lots of band vans. Like, so
well,
this one ain't that bad, actually.
Yeah, well, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
There you have it. We have Scott from the Reverend Horton Heat. If you guys have been listening thus far, you're probably already getting wise to how many repeating themes there are. In episode 1, where Randy Randall was talking about the disco loadout and how the venue flips the room. I think that if there's any people that are like promoters or anything listening, I get it that you're making some money by having a DJ in there, but the bands really do not like that. Thank you again, everyone, for following us and liking us. If you haven't yet, our Instagram is @shitshowpod. Our Facebook is the same, @shitshowpod. And then we also have an email up that you can go and message us and let us know who we should interview and how it's going. Or just tell us about your day. Normal stuff. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. Don't be a shit show.